Welcome to the fourth session on word roots. And as I told you in the previous session, we will do a few more word roots here. The first word root is cressy. Actually, it should be the first word root is cressy. Actually, the original Greek root is kratos, from which we derive the word cressy. And the meaning of this word kratos is power or rule. So we have these words aristocracy, autocracy, bureaucracy, and democracy are words which you must have heard. What is bureaucracy? Where the power is with the government servants or bureaucrats, and they are basically the rulers of a country. So this is bureaucracy. Democracy, the real power is with common people in a country, and demos, as we have seen, means people and cracy is rule. So here the real power is invested, is there with the common people of the country, that is democracy. And this is considered as the ideal form of government. Then we have meritocracy, kleptocracy, ochlocracy, theocracy, gerontocracy, and kakistocracy. Let's see each of them one by one. First, we have aristocracy. Aristocracy comes from the word cracy and aristocratia. In Greek, aristocratia referred to a privileged class of people. In medieval Europe, it referred to the noble class or the nobles. So, if nobles or the aristocratia or the privileged class they form the government, then we call it an aristocracy. So, aristocracy is a form of government in which the real power is held by this privileged class of people. तो कोई प्रिविलेज क्लास है, अगर उनके पास असली पावर है किसी कंट्री में, तो हम बोलते हैं दैट इज एन एरिस्टोक्रेसी. देन वी हैव ऑटोक्रेसी. ऑटोक्रेसी कम्स फ्रॉम ऑटो, which refers to one person holding an absolute power. तो अगर एक व्यक्ति के पास पूरा रूल करने का अधिकार है, then we call it a autocracy. So autocracy is a system of government where one person holds absolute power, and it is associated with somebody who is dictatorial. For example, North Korea can be considered an autocracy. Meritocracy again comes from two words, merit and cracy. So in this form of government, the actual power lies with people on the basis of their talent or merit. मतलब यहाँ पे हर कोई रूल नहीं कर सकता है, आप अपनी टैलेंट या मेरिट के वजह से ही आप यहाँ पे पावर में आ सकते हो. एंड एडवांसमेंट या प्रोग्रेस और प्रमोशंस इन सच अ सिस्टम is based on performance. So this is meritocracy. It's an ideal form of system. Many people in India say that reservation is against meritocracy, although there can be arguments for and against both in which I will not talk about right now. Let's move on to the next form of government, kleptocracy. Again comes from two roots, klepto, which stands for steal, and cracy, which means to rule. Now this is a form of government by thieves. चोरों की government है ये. Now what does that mean? So it means that there are corrupt politicians in power who will amass huge wealth at the expense of common man or at the expense of government treasury. So, form of government where the leaders use political power to amass wealth for self is kleptocracy. Politicians are corrupt and they enrich themselves at the expense of common people. Next, we have ochlocracy. Ochlocracy is rule by mob mentality. Now, what is the meaning of rule by mob mentality? It means that a mob will intimidate the authorities. मतलब डरा धमका के एक मॉब अपना काम करवा लेगा, अपनी बात मनवा लेगा. इस तरह के रूल को ऑक्लोक्रेसी बोलते हैं. मॉब इज अ एग्रेसिव ग्रुप ऑफ पीपल. थियोक्रेसी. So theos stands for religion, and obviously theocracy is any form of government in which the religious heads hold the actual power and in the name of God. So power is held in the name of God, but they are the real rulers. So, to my mind, two examples come of theocracy. One is Vatican, and the second one is Iran, where the Ayatollah is the head. Next, we have gerontocracy, which is ruled by the old people. It does not mean that old people would be the presidents or prime ministers, but it implies that old people are the ones who hold the real power or who hold influence over people who are in actual power. Kakistocracy is ruled by bad people or inefficient people or people who are incapable of being rulers. That is kakistocracy. The next root word is cogno, which is Latin for the ability to learn and ability to understand. Now, you would all know the word recognize. So, it comes from the same root cogno, and recognize means to know something in advance, that is recognition. Similarly, we have other words: cognition, cognizant, cognoscenti, incognito, cognitive, reconnoiter, reconnaissance, connoisseur, and so on. Let's look at each of these words one by one by one. So the first one is cognition. Cognition means your ability to understand and learn. So cognition refers to your ability to understand, your ability to learn. So these are mental processes, right? And what are these mental processes? What are the skills involved? The skills involved in cognition are referred to as cognitive skills. And these are the ability to think, ability to remember, judge, to solve problems, your ability to imagine, your ability to plan and predict in advance. These are all cognitive skills which help you in learning and understanding something. So, cognition is basically the ability to learn and the ability to, these are mental processes that of learning and understanding. Cognition. How can we use cognition in a sentence? So you can say that in your school or college, the purpose of an assignment could be to test your cognitive skills. Another usage could be cognition does not happen without will. So if you are not willing to learn something, you can't learn. Then we have the word cognizant. Cognizant means somebody who is knowledgeable about something. So if you're aware of something, it can be said that you are cognizant of something. So as a doctor, you are supposed to be cognizant of diseases and the remedies for those diseases, cure for those diseases. As a lawyer, you are supposed to be cognizant of the processes of law. Next, we have cognoscenti or cognoscenti. This word can be pronounced either ways, cognoscenti or cognoscenti. So it means having an expert knowledge of any subject, cognoscenti or cognoscenti. For example, as a film cognoscenti, he was able to understand the subtle variations in the cinematography, which normal people would not have understood. But because he has expert knowledge of films, he was able to understand. Similarly, as a computer cognoscenti, his YouTube channel on programming has lakhs of followers. So, because he has specialized knowledge, expert knowledge on computers, his YouTube channel has lakhs of followers. Incognito, with one's identity concealed. So, I'm sure many of you have seen this word, especially when you're surfing the web. There are times when you have to surf the web incognito. So, incognito means with your identity concealed. If you don't want to be tracked for your online behavior, you can just open the browser in incognito mode and start surfing the web. So your identity is concealed. In olden times, it is known that many kings traveled incognito throughout their kingdom in order to understand the situation at the ground or situation at the grassroots. Next, we have the word reconnoiter. Now, reconnoiter is an activity and it's generally carried out by the military. The military has to find out about the enemy positions, how many weapons they have, what kind of weapons they have. So they will send either a small group of people or they will send a helicopter or a drone or any other unmanned aerial vehicles to just find out more information about the enemy position. So this process is known as reconnoiter. This activity action is known as reconnoiter, and the process is called as reconnaissance. So reconnoiter is to get knowledge about enemy positions, size, weapons, etc. Aerial reconnaissance of the enemy area showed that they had lined up a tank battalion near the border. This is one use of the word reconnaissance. A drone was sent to reconnoiter the bordering area. Then we have the word connoisseur or connoisseur. So, connoisseur is an expert on subjects generally related to arts. For example, we can have a wine connoisseur who can find the difference between a young wine and an aging wine. One sentence from the word connoisseur could be: as an art connoisseur, he was able to correctly determine the price of an old painting. With this, we come to an end of this session on word roots. More words to follow, more words and word roots to follow in the next session. Thank you.